Captain Rick Rock TV. Let's get to the content.
All right, let's get back to it. We're going to jump back on this Nolan Wells. We haven't been on it in a few days, but just because we haven't been on it in a few days, that don't mean that we going to give up. We not going to quit until this case gets solved. No matter how long it takes, we going to throw this Nolan Wells content in. Hopefully somebody out there that was on Horn Island have any videos that haven't been seen can release those audios. Maybe one of these reaction videos or one of these videos bring somebody forward and say, you know what, we can't take it no more. This is eating at my conscience. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this case. So let's get over here, man. I went with Nolan moms to the corner. This is what I saw. We're not going to waste no more time. Let's go over here and get straight to the reaction with Nancy Grace. Let's go.
Nolan Wells bombshell. A witness tells us tonight, I went with Nolan's mother to the coroner's office, and this is what I saw. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being...
Nancy Grace, you've been looking good, man. Me and you probably need to go on a date and have some champagne. She looking good. I think I have some humor to this. Or is it just me? Rest in peace, Nolan Wells. Let's get back to it. Let's get serious.
With us. Nolan is dead.
Could it be a decompositional change? Could it be something else like blunt force injury? It's hard to say at this point in time.
I find it very difficult to believe, Dr. Kendall Crowns, that not one, but two medical examiners cannot figure out why he had deep red subcutaneous markings.
They don't want to figure it out. They want us to figure it out. It's clear that he probably got cracked upside the head with something, or he might have hit his head on something. But it's clear that they don't want to release what really happened. They know what happened. Come on, man. And we not being against anybody. We just being against the ones who not doing their job for a cover-up. That's it. That's all.
Joining us tonight, an all-star panel, but first straight to a special guest, Josh Gill with the Cajun Navy, who, as you know, searched for Nolan's body. Josh, thank you for being with us. The day unfolded when Nolan's body was found very bizarrely. You were there. I'm going to get to your trip to the coroner's office along with the family, but I want you to start at the beginning. What happened at the beginning of that day? We believe that Nolan likely died on July the 4th. Let's start with the day that Nolan's body was found and that you ended up at the coroner's office. Start at the beginning.
So early that morning, I deployed some resources. I deployed an aircraft, fixed-wing aircraft that wheels up at 0635, as you can see right there from the photographs. I was on my way to the Lake Mars boat launch. That's where the Tactical Operations Center was set up. And I received a phone call. Received that phone call from the Sheriff's Department that a body had been found. Didn't say who it was. I was probably 15 minutes out from the location. I then received a phone call within minutes after the conversation from the sheriff's office from Nolan's mother, Christine. And she was frantic. Again.
Looking at this Nolan Wells right here, man, you can look at this young athlete, man. He's strong looking, and you can tell he was the one that gets all the girls. And you can tell that it probably took about 3 or 4 guys to take him down. Yeah, that's why the score was on the back of the head. That's why it took about 3 or 4 guys to take him down. Let's get back to it. Let's go.
That mother's intuition, she knew what was going on. So I'm meeting at the boat launch. I was there about 15 minutes ahead of time. Had
Hold on just one moment.
Sheriff.
Hold on. Yep. For those of you just joining us, yep. Josh Gill is with us. He is the United Cajun Navy Incident Commander in the search for Nolan Wells. You stated that you received a phone call from Nolan's mother, Christine. You said she was frantic. What was she saying?
So again, I'm going to paraphrase. She said that they had found him, that they had found a body. My biggest concern at that exact moment was to make sure that she was safe, that she had, a safe way to get there, because it was the beginning of what's more than likely to be the worst day of her life. Again, so continuing on.
Hold on. Josh, you got me drinking from the fire hydrant here. Every word you're saying sparks 100 questions. So,
Sure.
Nolan Wells' mother calls you. Okay. Where was she when she called?
She was en route to the boat launch as well. We were meeting there for the search.
Okay. Had she been told that a body had been found?
Yeah, when she called me, so we had earlier communication, but via text, when she called me, she told me that a body had been found. She had been notified by the sheriff's department.
Oh, gosh. No wonder she was frantic. So she calls you. She's just been told by the sheriff a body has been found. She calls you. You're going to the boat launch. What boat launch? Where?
That's the Lake Mars boat launch.
Why there?
Exactly. Is that where everybody goes to board the boat? Is it cameras right there in that section? Is that the only way there and the only way out? Let's see what he say.
So that's where the operation was set up. That's where the search operations, the tactical operations center was there. They had a mobile command unit, and the multiple entities and agencies were basing their operations out of there. So what it is a boat launch. Again, they could launch rather quickly. It's a protected area to launch and then make that run to Horn Island and the surrounding areas.
Okay, so you agreed with her. Did she ask you to meet at the boat launch?
Oh, she knew I was going to that boat launch, and she actually asked me early that morning, where we were going to meet. And I told her, here's the best place. Here's where the operation is beginning.
Okay.
It was a secured location by the sheriff's department. So, that's where they were running their operations on it. And that's a common practice.
Question, do you know why Nolan's mother wanted you to go with her to Horn Island?
So we had communication. She called me, literally called me. We had a voice conversation that Sunday morning, about 7:30. She had called and asked for some assistance. After that phone call, I asked to memorialize all of our conversations so I could go back and look at information. And that's not uncommon for families to call us.
What kind of assistance did she need?
Exactly. Nancy always answer all the good questions. Ask all the good questions, I should say. Why did she call you? What kind of assistance did she need? And why are you so important and so vital to the point that she calling you?
Find my son. There it is.
So she asked you to help find her son, that assistance. Okay, got it. Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so she asked for that assistance, find my son, find Nolan. Started gathering information on who he is, who he was with, where he was. She made it very clear that he was with some friends, that they had been on Horn Island. So then I start launching resources immediately. And then after I launched the resources,
Hold on. Josh, what specifically did she say about him going to Horn Island with friends, if you can recall?
So she said that he went to Horn Island with friends. It's July 4th, and Horn Island's a location that's well known and well visited by people partying and hanging out for July 4th. It's a huge boating community, and that was a location where boats congregate and enjoy the 4th.
Okay, so she says he went to Horn Island on the 4th with friends. Got it, okay. So you meet at the boat ramp, and when you first saw her, what was her demeanor?
So she came to me. She gets out of the vehicle, comes to me, gives me a big hug. Again, it's a mother who, her intuition is that her body was just found. So obviously sad.
According to what we learned, the moment she gets out of the vehicle, she runs straight to you and is hyperventilating.
Absolutely. She came straight to
What
me.
happened?
20 people. She gives me a big hug and starts crying. And Look, I'm a softie. I started crying with her. We literally sat in the parking lot on the ground in the gravel for probably 15 minutes. And we had some pretty deep discussions. She cried. I cried with her, and her husband was there as well. And I want to say this, that he's a very stoic individual, and he stood there with his hand on both of our shoulders and was a part of everything. It was one of those moments you don't forget.
What was she saying? What was she saying? I mean, in a moment like that, how do you console a mother, Josh, that has been told by this disembodied voice on the phone, we found a body? I mean, what was she saying? Did she not want to believe it was Nolan? Did she believe it was Nolan? At this point, she had not ID'd a body yet. Nobody had identified that this was Nolan. Was she holding out hope? What was going on?
She knew. Again, mother's intuition is strong. It's very strong. In her heart, she knew. As far as what she was saying, why is always the question, you know? She asked God, why? And the rest of the conversations were just, memories real quick. And I'm assuming everything was just flashing in front of her eyes because, again, it's the.
All right. Sad situation. Y'all notice ever since this Nolan Wells incident was been going on in Mississippi, they've been having a bunch of unalive. And I think this case right here sparked up controversy in that town. It got people upset. Now they blatantly say, you know what, we about to go on one. Not everybody, just the people who's racist. They the ones, ever since this, it been a lot going on. Let's get back to this.
Beginning of the hardest time of her life. Losing her son. I was there just to console her and to help anyone I possibly could.
What was the dad saying, if anything?
He was, he was really quiet. He was a quiet gentleman, but his physical presence afforded her, made her feel safe. And I will say that, he stood there with us, on the ground. He's there. And his presence said a lot, and it meant a lot to his wife, to Miss Christine. And again, that's a tough time for him as well.
So she's crying. You state that she knows deep inside that that body is her boy, her son. You start crying. Did you remain standing in the parking lot, or did you sit down?
No, ma'am. Like I said, when she first came to me, she gave me a big hug, and I wrapped my arms around her, and we sat down. We sat very quickly. We remained seating for quite some time to have that discussion, say a prayer. I did pray with her right there. Yes, ma'am. On the ground, in the gravel.
Y'all were sitting
right
on the.
Yeah.
And you said she was hyperventilating. You sit on the ground. I believe I heard you say that you started praying.
Always. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Was she praying that it wasn't Nolan?
So, and again, I'm paraphrasing and going from the best of my memory. It was more of a prayer for peace and comfort is what I did. And I always ask for that and then for answers, and I prayed Godspeed if it is Nolan and, for the Lord to put his protecting hands over us and everything that we do and to be with this family and this mother, especially during these hard times. It's an emotional time.
I cannot even imagine. I'm trying to get my head around the picture of you and Miss Christine sitting on the ground in a parking lot with her crying after just been told we found a body, and she knows it's Nolan.
Oh, sure.
I thank God that you were there.
Yeah, he sounds like he's a good gentleman to me. It doesn't seem like he don't have a hate bone in his body. At least it doesn't seem like to me. Seem like he's an honest gentleman and he's telling the truth here.
Thank God that you and Nolan's dad were there to help her. I don't know how she even stood up. How did you get her to stand up?
So it was about 15 minutes we were there on the ground, and a couple times the sheriff came up and he saw what was going on, and the sheriff's staff, and they understood that it was one of those moments where we need some space. She finally, and I hate to say she called her composure, because it was an emotional time for me as well as the father, and we stood up, and the sheriff came over, and, he started discussing what the process would be. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
I don't know how she even stood up. Okay, so you help her up off the ground. Yeah. Okay, then what happens?
So family and friends started to arrive, and the security let them in, and the sheriff came up, and the sheriff again, he had to help deliver that news, that a body was found, and do his formal, and I hate to say notification, because at this point he didn't say if it was Nolan or not, but he explained that a body was found and where they would be bringing that body to. And from there, the family gathered, and it was, I'd say, a matter of 15, 20 minutes maybe.
All right, we're going to get out of here. This is Nancy Grace. We're going to go over to Willie D on the next one. We're going to talk about how the Snapchat might have solved this case, or going to solve this case. Nolan Wells was often on his Snapchat. He could not get off social media, addicted to social media like everybody else. He took pictures of himself. He danced. He did everything that the normal youngster would do with these phones. They cannot take their eyes off their cell phone. So we're going to get to that, and we're going to check that out, man, how Snapchat can solve this case. It's Compton Rick Rock with Compton Rick Rock TV. Y'all subscribe to the channel. Please share the video. I'll catch all of y'all on the next reaction.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, Compton Rick Rock TV. Also, hit that notification bell and catch every video when I drop.